seems to me that anti-capitalists are not using the strongest possible arguments against pro-capitalists in their debates, such as the footprint argument. We have now beautiful studies with beautiful graphs showing that you can only be sustainable, you can only have a sustainable footprint if you're relatively poor. The richer you are, the bigger your footprint because you consume more. And in fact, the Global Footprint Network has shown that we need a footprint of under 1.7 GHA, global hectares, which is a measure of footprint, in order to be sustainable. And only very poor countries have that. So there's no longer an excuse to be rich at all. So that is pretty unassailable. And that actually pretty much restructures the whole idea of markets, that the idea that you are providing value to somebody has to be offset by the negative value created not only by the wealth that you acquire, that you then spend and thus create more CO2, or even the product itself, if it's contributing to somebody else's consumption above this low level that is required for sustainability, then that is obviously also unsustainable. Now, if you had limited damage, probably with a much smaller population, then you could maybe say that selling a car may be offset by doing something that repairs the damage, like perhaps, I don't know, planting 150 trees or something. That's purely hypothetical, I don't know. But if that were the case, then you could say that the price of planting those trees or paying somebody to do it would have to be added to the price of the car. But obviously, if you have so many people with so many cars, with so many goods, so many buildings, so much concrete, so much this, so much that, then there's no price you can put on it because the damage to the world and to other species and ultimately even to ourselves is too large. I mean, what price are you going to put on driving a species to extinction? It's out of range. Then you also have the argument of social relations. In other words, if I sell you something like, I don't know, a Coca-Cola, it may have subjective value for you. In other words, you feel like drinking it, you want to drink it. It may not have objective value because it may not be good for you. In fact, we know that liquid sugar is not very good for you, but it has subjective value. But if you get rich as the CEO or the investor in Coca-Cola, then you are creating a hierarchy automatically. So if you go above a certain amount of wealth, then we have studies now showing, we've had them for a while, the negative social effects of inequality. So the original argument, the original reason why you justify getting that money from the Coca-Cola can that you're selling is that you are providing value to people out there. But since the very selling of that Coke, when it reaches a certain number, creates enough wealth to create social inequality, which is a negative social value, then you have something offsetting that original value. Maybe even offsetting it by a larger amount than the original value was to begin with.